Welcome to Candidates Corner on LPTV. Here is your host, Pat Ford.
Yes, and welcome to Candidates Corner on LPTV, Libertarian Party Television, a production of the Libertarian Party and Libertarian National Committee. Whitney Bilyeu serving as chair. Tonight, remotely, we've got John Gapso on the big board. Of course, I'm your host, Pat Ford. If I could just take a moment, and I'll be posting this tomorrow, I'd like to take the moment to thank the folks from Region 8, who this week elected me as an alternate to the Libertarian National Committee. Every week we get up here and we talk about how wonderful these times are, and they are. We have challenges, but I am recommitting to doing everything I can to give folks freedom in their lifetime. Region 8 is politically one of the most challenging environments that libertarians have to compete for, if you will, with the public's attention, an understanding of our philosophy, our movement, what we really stand for, not what people think we stand for. But we also have wonderful affiliates. Each and every one of the affiliates, if you will, of Libertarian Party Region 8 are poised, ready to engage. And as we approach this election season, I ask everyone to double down, find out what it is that they can contribute to the movement, what they can take to the streets. Again, thanks to all the folks who supported me. It's time to get to work. Tonight, we're going to give the libertarian community an opportunity to meet our wonderful down ballot candidates. We're going to ask them to shape their views, if you will, through the voters' eyes with the help of a libertarian perspective. What matters to the voters? As much as I admire Austrian economists, as much as I love to have a great session and learn from the folks in this party who are so knowledgeable, it's safe to say that American voters are concerned about, what we call lunch pail issues. That's what we do here on this show. Of equal importance is to further that bond, to understand that libertarian candidates, in the case of tonight, Dean Davison is joining us. He's running for the House of Delegates of Virginia and the 19th District, is just important to our philosophy, the promulgation of our organization, to developing an understanding with the community, what we stand for, what we represent, what we believe in. I say a candidate in California, in your home state, or maybe if you live in Massachusetts. Joining us tonight, as I mentioned, is Dean Davison. He's running for the House of Delegates in Virginia in the 19th District. Dean, welcome to by the way, I have to explain. I'm on site tonight. Today, if folks missed it, I understand. It's a hectic world. Today is the anniversary of the 1945 bombing of Hiroshima. There are events happening all over the greater Boston, Rhode Island, Connecticut area to commemorate those events and to provide a moment of quiet to focus on the impact of war on our world. We stand together as libertarians to oppose war, to bring peace to the world. We understand that the best way to honor our veterans is to make sure that they never set foot in a nation for the purpose of capital, in a nation for the purpose of a police action. So I had the opportunity tonight to watch a 1965 movie called The War Game. And it's in black and white. It was filmed in England. It's stunning. If the people in that room already walked in being opposed to war of all kinds, I'm going to do my best to get as many libertarians as possible to see this movie. It's as salient as 2021 as it was in its filming in 1965. So hence the background, the streets of Boston. But Dean, tonight's all about you. Let's get down to business here. Dean, first of all, thanks for coming on. Talk to us about your candidacy, but also importantly, talk to us about yourself, what you do, when your libertarian moment was, and what spurred you on to do, I believe, one of the most patriotic actions any American can do, which is to run for public office, with the sake of, and for the purpose of, limiting that same public office. Let it rip, Dean.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Pat, and guys, I really appreciate it. Congratulations for having being the alternate now in District 8. That's awesome. A little bit about me. I was born in Mount Holly, New Jersey. I was actually from New Jersey for most of my life till I was about until 2008. I'm 37 now, going on 38. I moved to Virginia. Now, okay, a little bit about me. When I started voting in New Jersey, there was only Republican, Democrat, and unaffiliated. I really didn't know about the Libertarian Party back then. So I was a blue dog Democrat, per se, so more of an independent type Democrat. That totally changed by 2008, where I left the Democratic Party and went to look for a new party, a third party, because I didn't think at this point the Republicans were doing well or the Democrats. So I found the Libertarian Party because it fit the way I felt. So I joined the Libertarian Party, card carrying in 2013. But prior to that, I was a Libertarian. Gary Johnson, Ron Paul is really what brought me into the movement. Ron Paul is definitely a great person to look up to. But I had libertarian moments prior to that, even when I was in high school, where I was in the student council and had the idea when they were trying to push uniforms on us to oppose this crazy idea of uniforms and be individual, wear what we want, as long as it doesn't have profane language, things like that, so hurt nobody else. It's the same principle as a libertarian, and I never knew that was what the Libertarian Party was about until I found the Libertarian Party, and now I'm really happy. I started, like I said, a card carrying in 2013. Roanoke Valley Libertarians in Roanoke, Virginia. I got involved with them. I worked my way to secretary of the 6th District, Congressional District, and then I moved over to the 5th District. When I moved to the 5th District, there was an opening for chair of the 5th District, Congressional District, SEC. So I was elected in that position. After that, Dr. James Lark, which is one of my biggest mentors in the party, he a past national chair, past state chair, LNC member, he decided, I listened to all his talks. He had a talk every August. It's coming up again this year. We even did it last year outside. It was great. But I kept moving there, and he said, I kind of want to take a break from being secretary. So I was running for chair at that time, and I switched over. I said, I won't run for chair. I'll run for secretary if you think I'm, a fit person in that. So he taught me a lot of the philosophies of the libertarian movement. And, I look at all the caucuses and things these days, and my biggest belief is to bring everybody together, because now I'm the vice chair I got elected secretary, and then our chair stepped down. So I became, by vote, the vice chair of the Libertarian Party of Virginia, which I sit as now. So this is the second time running for office. Actually, 2019, I was running for office, and my dad developed cancer, unfortunately. And it was a rocky time, so I had to withdraw my candidacy. Even as much as I wanted to push forward, family was first. That passed by. My dad's in remission, and he still is. So I relaunched 2021. And I learned some things just in that short period in 2019 to get to where I'm at now. So I learned and ran for office. It's actually very much harder now to collect signatures than it was in 2019. Obviously, the word COVID comes into a lot of the situation. So I got the opportunity to run for office again, got on the ballot, and a couple things that I'm looking forward to. I want to push deregulation on farmers so they can sell more of their products. Farmers are hurt big time, and this is where I'm at is a farmer utopia, basically. Bedford, Botetourt, Allegheny County, and there's the city of Covington and Clifton Forge, but the majority of the area is farmland with voters that are farmers. I want to help the farmers. The other thing is they bring up broadband, and now my Democratic opponent who jumped in, which normally doesn't jump into a race, she's more of a socialist in the Democratic Party. She basically came and said broadband, broadband, broadband. So before that, I had the idea in 2019 too to take a broadband tower and place it on a volunteer fire and EMS grounds. What's that do? That allows the volunteer fire and EMS to make rent off that, which then cuts the actual cost in taxes. So the taxes go away. We lower taxes that way. So that was another thing. Of course, I am pro Second Amendment, and my pro Second Amendment stance I've heard from the VCDL pretty much that I'm going to have the highest ranking. My opponent the Republican has 28 points in their legislative voting for that, which is very low. And so I look forward to that. I have a lot of gun owners and a lot of farmers on my side. And like I said, I went after that. I went after farmers. School choice is a huge thing because there's too many. We need to have that ability. And now that, the schools around here, hey, they said, we're going to go without the mask mandate. It's going to be optional. Well, they haven't voted yet, but the ones around us have, and they re-voted because the governor threatened lawsuits to wear a mask. And I think that's going to happen in this county, unfortunately, too. And people ask me about the vaccine thing, and it's a controversial thing, but my thing is I'm vaccinated. I'll say that right now. But it's your choice. That's a choice that you have to make, whether you think you should be vaccinated or not. That's not nobody's business other than you and there. Nobody should be pushing mandates that you have to be vaccinated or you have to do this. You shouldn't have to do anything that the government shouldn't force things on you. And that's the unfortunate part about what's going on here. Like I said, pro-gun, big time, and it's a very helpful thing. And we need to keep we're self-protected from tyrants, foreign and domestic, and our government is domestic.
Outstanding. So let's just sort of do a deep dive. I love the overview here. In terms of the politics of your case, again, you started to talk about the region. Talk to us about the region. Talk to us about the politics. Who holds the seat right now? What's a win number? Give us kind of an overview there.
Okay. In our district, it's District 19. It goes Bedford County, Botetourt County, Allegheny County, Covington, and Clifton Forge. Okay, so in the area of Bedford County, mainly farmland. Okay, voters, 46 to 48,000 voters usually happen. Botetourt County is about 35 to 40,000 voters, and that's mainly farmland. Allegheny is up in the mountains mainly, except for city of Covington, which is a city that holds a paper mill, Wesco Rock, and Clifton Forge, which is a little more of a town that is more or less a town, not a actual city. And then within Bedford County, there's Bedford, the town of Bedford, which is in the county now, but it used to be its own city at one point before it got pushed differently. Currently, the incumbent, his name is Terry Alston. He's a Republican. The candidate, the Democrat, who normally we don't have Democratic, you can look back on VPAP, which is Virginia Public Access Project. He didn't have very many Democratic challengers, but he got in 2013 when Lacey Putney. Lacey Putney started off way back in the 60s as a Democrat only for one term. And he wanted to listen to the people and said, I can't stand politics as it is, and became an independent. He ran and stayed independent till the day he left office in 2013. He ran many, many, many campaigns against Republicans and Democrats during that time frame, where he actually beat them every single time. So to say it's winnable for a libertarian is a very true statement. I mean, I'm more of an independent in people's eyes because I give the Democrats a little bit of piece of the pie that they like with, having the criminal justice reform and stuff like that. And then on the the Republicans look at me sometimes because they don't like some of the policies he's made, such as he's voted for Medicaid and Medicare expansion. He voted for getting rid of the ability for charities to actually raise money for the poor people. That would be charities like the fire department that would raise money. We're talking about churches. We're talking about veterans organizations. He's basically saying that the big people like Rosie's and Caesars Casino, which is moving down in Danville, not in my district, but in my state, have the monopoly on that funding. And it's absolute garbage. And now he's going to be in a conference committee, which is even funnier. So I can watch what he does in that committee and pull out what bad has been done in that for the budget. So definitely an interesting time, interesting place, very nice place to live, very nice place to visit. The southern end, we have Smith Mountain Lake. It's a big area for people to go down to. And that basically, I run for 2 volunteer fire departments. I've been in volunteer fire service for 21 years. So I know how to be out in the public and listen to people. So that's one of the other things that trigger me to push this far to run for office. And we have quite a few candidates this year. We have Sarah Jaros in the 22nd, which is right underneath me, basically. So I have work with her. 61st is our chair for the Libertarian Party of Virginia. Joe Pascal is running. We have Charlie West down in. We have Tim Lewis. We have Eric Bowling running for Board of Supervisors in Henry County. So a lot of these people are in Southern and Southwestern Virginia, where normally a lot of the candidates come out of Northern Virginia. And that's kind of different this year. Tim's from the Richmond area. Charlie West is from the Tidewater area, but we have more Southwestern Virginia pushing. So that's what's going on in our district. We have good candidates running. We don't have a governor candidate running. And I can go into the whole thing with the State Board of Elections allowing this Liberation Party, which is only in the state, to actually use the signification of LP. They were trying to take the L away from us, and it was a failure. But then they went with LP, which I think is horrible because that'll confuse people because we're LP.org. Join the party today, just to let you know. Great party. So that's a little bit about what's going on.
What is the one issue of concern for the rest of your district?
What's the biggest concern in my district?
Right.
Of course, the bigger concerns in my district are red flag laws. We have a lot of people that are gun carrying people that love freedom, so they love having their guns, and the red flag laws have really took that away. Like I said, we have a lot of farmers, so the farmers are hurt big time. I mean, one of the stupidest things I've ever heard is, hemp seeds are food, okay, but if you're not using hemp, for food, they're still taxing people a food tax for hemp to make T-shirts, so it's stupid. There's a lot of farms, and the farmers need help they can get to, and deregulating like raw milk, things like that, to pass on to consumers as they may want it. It's important. Taxes staying low. We continuously have them trying to spend more and more money in our Board of Supervisors in our area. And the candidate, the incumbent, he's supposed to represent the district, hasn't really put a bill in place for the district. He's done more state bills, and it's important to do it for the constituents in the district. So, some of the things like the broadband towers, the idea I brought up with broadband towers on firegrounds, I mean, that's huge because these volunteer fire departments have a hard time getting funding as it is. So that funding is going to help the taxpayer that's not a firefighter, but that gets the fire service, because they're not going to have to pay as much tax, because if you get those on the fire EMS grounds, you get people like Verizon and all these self companies that are paying rent. So that rent, 25 to 30% of the rent goes right to the fire department. That's a beautiful thing. And that's a way to get broadband successfully into a location without raising taxes on people. And raising taxes is absolutely a no-no in any form in this area. It's just, like I said, it's a big Trump area when it comes to presidential or red or very red. But when it comes to the localities, independents have, like I said, with Lacey Putney, have been successful. And I believe that I could be successful also.
No, that's outstanding. How long? Well, first of all, when is your election?
Election's November 2nd, 2021. Obviously, it's a Tuesday. That's when our election is. Tim Lewis just put a comment up there. He's one of our candidates. Great candidate. Another one of our great candidates. It's a great thing. All of our candidates, we all talk on a group, and we try to throw things around to help each other as much as possible. But like I said, I'm a vice chair in the state too, so I'm trying to do what's right for our candidates at the same time, do what's right for the party, and move the party forward. So the more candidates we have that are libertarian, the better we are, because it pushes our message forward, and eventually we'll get to a place where we can actually make libertarian in office and leave other people alone and stop overstepping what government's supposed to do, which is very little.
What ballot access implications do these elections have, if any?
Well, for my district, unfortunately, for anybody running for the House of Delegates, it's not going to have much of a thing unless we get in office, which is a hopeful thing. We have to get 10% in. This is so people understand. We have to get 10% on statewide offices, which means governor or federal, like the presidency, 10% to become a major party in the state of Virginia, and have all this without having to collect crazy signature requirements and all that. So it's very difficult for us to get on, and that's why it's very important to donate if you can to these candidates and myself or Tim or Joe, because we're the people that are trying to make the change for people. If you can't make the change, that's what we're doing as candidates. We're putting ourselves out there. We're putting ourselves, our family, in the spotlight. So you have to be smart about what you do and what you say. So it's so hard with ballot access. It's unbelievable. And some people have tried to push it before, and it's failed, and it's failed, and it's failed. If we get myself or any of us libertarians get in office, we can push the process of trying to eliminate that 10% or lower it to at least something that's reasonable, like 2%, or eliminate it altogether. Things I've noticed is you need to eliminate things little at a time, because if you try to go and say, eliminate, taxes. Okay. Yeah. Taxation is theft. I totally agree. It's awful with the amount of taxes we have to pay. But I believe more of like a fair tax system. So to get there, you would have to slice little by little to get to that location. You can't just magically think that you're going to be able to just eliminate something, because that won't happen. You have to have the support of, unfortunately, if I get in there, I'll be one libertarian and Democrats and Republicans. And if we have a few, it'd be good. But if we have Democrats and Republicans, the Democrats have the House. So we have to try to work together to make something happen. So, the biggest cool thing about that is, though, if we can split it right, they would have to come to us for, the vote to make it go one way or another. And that's just a great feeling of what power the Libertarian Party could have if we get in the House of Delegates. Because if the Democrats and Republicans have to have my vote to pass or fail something, that's a great feeling. I mean, that's a good feeling. And I'm always going to go on principle. I'm never going to be bought by these corporations that my Republican opponent has $80,000 already raised. He's looking for people to come out. He wrote in his thing, please, we need more people to come out to vote. Why is that? Why is he saying that? Because I'm legitimately a threat, obviously, to him. He started off with like $58,000 up to $80,000 in donations right now. And I'm working at like 1,000, 1,200, 1,500. But being seen and being acknowledged that you're there is a huge thing in any candidacy. So it's a good feeling.
Absolutely. Now, talk about the methods that you're campaigning with. Now, you essentially came into this campaign at the tail end of the pandemic. What are you able to do right now as far as actual physical campaigning?
Obviously, I'm going to go to door to door, specifically in the big voting areas. I want to go door to door and at least drop pamphlets out. If people don't want to answer the door, I understand. I'm going to be nice to them. If I feel that wearing a mask is going to make them feel more comfortable, I will do so, just for the people that are out there. I want the constituents to feel comfortable with me if I'm coming face to face with them. And there's a lot of people that feel uncomfortable because of COVID of approaching you. So there's ways to do that. And the biggest way to do that, is talking to people. And doing that, you have to go to events. And we have events coming up. There's an event called the Center Fest in Bedford. It's a huge event where like thousands of people, 2,000-3,000 people usually or more come out. And we're going to have a table there. And I have signage and information, rack cards. I have the rack cards that have the QR code on them so they can scan if they want to donate. So, things like that. I also have the Vinton Fall Festival, which is in the district next to me, but a lot of the district comes into that. So it's very important to go there. And I'm working alongside of my Lynchburg Libertarian, area Libertarian, the affiliate there, and the Roanoke Valley Libertarians. We're going to all be together pretty much to push for Sarah Jaros also's connected with us too, very close in the 22nd district. She's literally on the southern end of my district. So crossing over and helping her and her helping me, that's just other things we can do to, improve the chances of a libertarian candidate getting into office.
You make a point of listing on your campaign cards something that you should be justifiably proud of, and that's your participation in a volunteer fire department. Now, I'm sitting here in eastern Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, and my experience tells me that there may only be one or two pure volunteer fire departments left in the entire eastern part of Massachusetts. What's the tradition down there? Is our volunteer fire departments still an important part of the community in Virginia?
Oh, yes. Most parts of the southern part of the state, or where I'm at, that Bedford County, Botetourt County, Allegheny County, even Roanoke County, which is more populated. Majority of the southern end of the state, my district specifically, all of them have a lot of volunteers, but there is paid staff. There needs to be some paid staff because the amount of volunteers and the amount of hours available are not there for a lot of people. We have a unique fire department down here that's on the water of Smith Mountain Lake that protects all three Bedford, Franklin, and Pennsylvania County, and parts of Roanoke County. So fire departments have a bunch of volunteers. The volunteers have been shrinking off, so the need for paid is there. I'm very good friends with a lot of the paid people. They ride an ambulance in our county in Bedford. They ride in ambulances, and this is the majority of except for Botetourt has an engine, but I'll go into that in a minute. But in Bedford County, it's all ambulances. So there's a medic and usually a BLS or an EMTB or an A, and then a paramedic on each ambulance. So there's ALS on every ambulance, and those ambulances are placed throughout the county in strategic areas to make calls. But it gets bogged down on a very busy day, or God forbid a big storm comes through. Then you have the volunteers. The volunteers run, and that goes with Franklin, which is not my district, but they have the same way. They have an engine, and so does Botetourt. They have an engine also, but they also have the ambulances. So there's there's a mix. It's very much mixed with the volunteers and the paid, because if they didn't come together, it'll never work. So we do have a lot of volunteers, and I've done it for 21 years, starting in New Jersey, in the Department of Emergency Management too, in '99, and through here. So I do this. 4th of July, somebody asked me, "Hey, what do you do the 4th of July weekend?" Well, I went out to some of the fireworks and handed out information, but I also was volunteering that day because I was very busy. Because the community needs to hear. You hear so much in the community and how people are suffering in the community just by being on the fire truck or being on an ambulance. You'd be surprised. They're so scared they can't pay for it because of the crappy Obamacare, and we need more free market. I mean, these people are afraid to go to the hospital because they think they have to pay for an ambulance ride. Luckily, in Bedford County, they do soft billing, so if you can't pay for it, you get that free. So it's very important that people's health and well-being is important. And like I said, you can listen to them out on an incident. If you save somebody's house, you save something for somebody, even if their house burns down, it means a lot. The community means a lot to me. I love my community I live in. I love the community around me. And I want to do everything I can do. That's why I'm running for office. I want to help as much as I can. I've always been a helpful person. It's something that I learned off my grandma. My grandma she would help anybody and everybody. She loved people, and she helped people. And my mom's the same way, and my dad's the same way, and I was brought up that way. And it's just, I'm proud to be brought up that way. It's put me where I'm at now, to try to help the most people I can.
How often are you the first libertarian someone meets?
What was that again? How
often are you the first libertarian someone meets?
Very often. The libertarian part, it's getting more. People are starting to learn more about it. A lot of that had to do with Gary Johnson. He came to Liberty University, which is Lynchburg. So more people know a little bit more about the Libertarian Party in, say, Bedford County. But still, a lot of people come across me and don't know what a libertarian is. And I explain it to them, or I have them take the world's smallest political quiz, and they're shocked that they're libertarian. Right. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, but they like they like the idea. Most people don't know they're libertarians or they lean libertarian until they do that, and or if they listen to what I'm saying, they're like, well, you know, if I can get 80%, 80-20, I've gotten that person. A big thing around here, like I said, is guns and gun shops. I have certain gun shops that are going to put signs up and information in their gun shops because I care about the people out here. Like, I'm listening. I'm not just trying to raise money from corporations such as Dominion Power and AEP and all these electrical companies and Comcast, Facebook, FanDuel, like all the corruption that's in tied with those pay-for-play politics. I'm listening to the people, and the people are the people that you work for the people, and that's so lost in government these days. It's so lost around here in Virginia. Lacey Putnam was the last person that worked for people in this state, in this district, specifically worked for people and passed bills that were in the best interest of the district people, and then work through the state. So that to me is important. You start with the local and the people first, and then worry about state issues and voting on the state issues. You have to vote on them, obviously, but it's very important that you listen to your constituents and write bills for those constituents, what their needs are.
Folks, if you're just joining us, Dean Davison is running for the House of Delegates in Virginia as a Libertarian in the 19th District. I apologize, if you will, for the urban street effect. I had the opportunity, and I couldn't pass it up, to represent as a Libertarian at an event commemorating the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki today. And, there are events going on around the nation all weekend, and I would just ask Libertarians to take a moment and reflect on the fact that the United States of America is still the only country, if you will, to use offensive nuclear weapons. And what does that mean for us now? And what does that mean as the party of peace, as an anti-war party? What does that mean going forward? Dean, again, thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
We've got a few months to go. This was sort of an eye-opener because we're trying to, at Candidates Corner, if you will, try and keep an eye on election timing and election dates. So I invite anyone who's running from the Commonwealth of Virginia to reach out to us, because we'd love to have you on the show. We want to promote, obviously, the great Libertarian Party of Virginia. And one of the things I'm thinking about is maybe having and we did this in Pennsylvania, having a Libertarian Virginia candidates panel show one Friday night to get everybody on board and maybe wake up folks to the opportunities that Libertarians enjoy right now in Virginia and how we can support all of you. You mentioned, the challenges of fundraising. Do you have fundraising events coming up? Are you doing a money bomb?
I'm trying to do something like a money bomb. Fundraising is difficult in a lot of ways because certain places don't want you to, or don't want to get involved with politics. So trying to do that, we had somebody do Charlie West did something really interesting. He did some kind of a barbecue, and the money went towards that. Joe Pascal, one of our other candidates, he held like an event at a barbecue place, I believe, also. So I think maybe that's the way I should go in that aspect, because it did raise a little bit of money for them. But it's fundraising isn't easy, especially as a Libertarian, because not many people want to give to, unless you're a Libertarian or a family member or people that know you. Right. They don't want to give. They're hard of giving money to candidates, and I asked them to think about this way. We're running with no, we don't have any funding coming from, money funding coming from this, the national party for us. Right. We're not, the national, the local, or not the local, but the state Libertarian Party doesn't have enough money to give every candidate money. So we have to raise money on ourselves. And I asked this of many, many people is, if you're in the area, like if you're in the state of Virginia, come down to help these candidates. Either come down with your feet and walk the walk and help them, or at least donate a few bucks, $5 or something to each candidate. So at least they have a little bit of money. I mean, it's very important to do so, because not that we don't we need money to do these things. Rack cards cost money, signs cost money, right. Literature costs money, these tables cost money. But if you want to get like winning a precinct like Dustin Evans did in 2000 in his House of Delegates race down in South, very far near Martinsville, he had a billboard and he won a district. So if you get a billboard, which are a couple $100, if you donate a little bit of money to everybody donates a little bit of money that's watching this to each of the campaigns, they could all buy a billboard, and that would help visibility on major roads. Radio ads are expensive also, or YouTube ads. So any way that you can give a few bucks if you can't get on your feet and help that candidate helps every single candidate. So I don't beg for money from people. I ask them politely, please donate if you can. A few bucks, $5 will help. But if you can do 20, you can do 50, you can do 100, 200, whatever. That is very helpful if you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, and also, we've got the opportunity now at a time when Americans are hungry for alternatives. Americans literally are starving for new ideas. They've seen the intellectual bankruptcy of our approach to the pandemic. They've seen the impact that big government has had, if you will, on the business community. They've seen and they've felt it firsthand, and they realize that they have to get out of their comfort zone. So many people understand that now. Your individual support of candidates in the same manner that the Sanders campaign has been able to harness around the nation, thousands of small donations, a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there, just goes such a long way. And how good does it feel, by the way, when you get a donation from somebody you've never met, they're not even in your district, they're just a libertarian somewhere out there who clearly gives a damn. They see they see the work ethic here from all the candidates in Virginia. How important that is that to your just sort of fighting spirit every day?
It's very important. There's a gentleman down at the Tidewater. I don't know if he wants me to mention his name or not, so I'll keep that. But he gave me a $200 donation, and I've never met the man, but the respect of doing that as a libertarian was amazing. Like, he believed in the beliefs that I was pushing. I don't know if it's because I've proven my abilities as a vice chair to be a good governing person. But all the people that have donated, some of the friends have donated to it. Think about it this way: how many states are having elections this year that libertarians are on? There's not a whole lot,
right?
Governor races, it's only New Jersey and I think our state. So we don't have a governor candidate. So for Virginia, if the people that are not having races this year that are statewide or whatever, hey, it's your perfect chance if you're in Montana or California or Utah or somewhere else that might be watching this to donate to a libertarian. That it doesn't matter what state you're from. You're helping everybody out by donating a little bit of money to a candidate. And like I said, you go to my website and see what I'm all about. I mean, I have my issues listed right there. I have a hashtag of freedom ahead because I believe we will see freedom ahead. We will see liberty in our lifetime with libertarians being in offices, more offices than we have now and higher up offices.
And the other secret sauce, if you will, is when individuals see the Libertarian Party actively engaging, actively running candidates, actively volunteering in the community. It's a wake-up call. And when we speak to volunteerism as well as voluntarism, when we speak to those important issues and then follow it up by action, that's the important thing here. We walk the walk as libertarians. We're engaged in our communities. So you accomplish two things. Hopefully what you're doing is contributing to a winning campaign, but at the same token, we're a party on the move. Nearly 2 million Americans voted for a uniquely libertarian candidate in our presidential election. Let's reflect on that. 2 million Americans voted for a libertarian candidate, a wonderful candidate who did not have the deep pockets, who did not have the, if you will, the international name recognition that her opponents did. But what she did have was a philosophy and a belief system supporting her candidacy that's part of all of our everyday lives. People want something larger than themselves. They want to belong to something larger than themselves. And when they see and begin to understand issues like the non-aggression principle, when they talk about the fact that we are opposed to corporate welfare, unlike the duopoly, the fact that we are opposed to war, I think it speaks to a lot of folks. And that's why I'm excited about your candidacy, because you're appealing to grassroots libertarian issues and giving people in your district, you're presenting them with an opportunity not just to vote for you, but to gain an understanding of, an approach to our nation's politics that's radically different from anything that they've seen before.
We had a local newspaper actually go over the libertarian philosophy and not just promote what I write a story about me, but about the libertarian philosophy, and that made me so happy. What newspaper? Huh?
That's awesome.
Who does that? Like, that's great. It's called the Vinton Messenger, and they have the Fincastle Herald. The both are tied in together, and one's in Botetourt, one's in Roanoke County, but they cover out here in Bedford County, and one was in Botetourt County. That's beautiful. Teach the libertarian principles and what we're about to everybody that reads that paper. That was a great thing. And another thing is like Joe Pascal is one of the candidates. He's our chair of Virginia. He put a thing up, and I love what he did. He's using it now. It says, "I am term limits." Well, I'm going to use the terminology and probably calls my hashtag and information to be, I am the volunteer. I am the volunteerist. I'm the person that is in your community helping you out when nobody else will. So, my volunteerism shows through my 21 years of the fire service and having some other organizations I've been involved in being in leadership. So I am that volunteer is what I should put there. Because that, to me, that's mostly a volunteer. Being a volunteer is important, and having a voluntary society is important. And the biggest thing is I every caucus, they fight inner fight, and it's interesting. But with me, I want to bring all those caucus people together. We need to work together. We're already a small enough group as a libertarian. We need to be bigger, so we need to start working together more than working against each other. We need to come together, work more together. I'd like to see the radicals, the Mises Caucus, the pragmatics, which win out. Everybody just work together. You agree on some things, you don't agree on others. Okay, don't hate. Work together. That's how we get forward. There's people in every single caucus that I have friends in, and it doesn't matter to me. I'm trying to bring everybody together, and that's if we're all together, we can't be stopped when it comes to libertarianism and getting that word out there. We come together and move forward. That's what we need to do, and I'll do that if I get into Richmond. If you thought you heard the word libertarian, you're going to hear a lot more of the word libertarian. You're going to hear a lot more about principles, and I will push things such as repealing red flag laws, something huge to my district, and I will push laws out and write laws to restrict that.
What is your win number, and how many voters have voted in past elections? What do you need to do to win?
Well, I've looked at the numbers around 50 to 60,000, maybe a little bit more, a little less, depending on the election for House of Delegates. So I got to do at least over, I would say, 40% of that number. So that's where I see the win number. And a three-way race where the Democrat might pull some votes and stuff, if I can get 35, 40%, I believe 33% and up, I win. I mean, split it three ways. It's 45% of those voters. I have a voters list, so that's another thing that's going to help. I'm probably put out mailers to each of those people that are voters to let them know about me and about the party.
Dean, this is our favorite part of the show. This is where we engage in what we call shameless self-promotion. So I want you to tell folks how they can reach out to you, where they can find you, how they can donate to you, and just how they can get involved, whether it be folks who happen to be local, who they can help boots on the ground, and whether or not, for example, the state of Virginia is going to engage in some of this remote texting, where folks are able to reach out with and make calls remotely, so folks around the nation can support you. And you're absolutely right, by the way. The Virginia represents one of the few big state opportunities that we've got in 2021 to kind of flex our muscle, take this energy, take this spirit, and win some more elections. So take it away. Shamelessly self-promote.
Okay. Name's Dean D Davison. Like I said, I'm 37 years old. I'm from Stewartsville, Bedford County, Virginia. Originally from Mount Holly, New Jersey. So I have lived in the north. I lived in the south. Something called pork roll up there that you can only get in a few places here in Virginia. And that's just a shameless plug about the food. That's certain food. Sweet tea you couldn't get up there. So, it's kind of it's a trade-off. So anyway, we go into where you can get involved. You can get involved with a few things, okay? You can go to your local affiliate, look it up online, or the easiest way to do is if you're in Virginia, lpvirginia.org. Go there, look for your local affiliate. Join the party there for the state party. Join the party at lp.org for the national party. Where you can help me out, you can basically go to www.davison4delegate.com. There it is on the screen. You'll see what I'm about. If you go to the bottom, there's a place where it'll say donate. You can click there. On Facebook, we have at Davison FOR Delegate 2021. That will enable you to follow my Facebook page where I put stuff up, which I also have a link to my donor box, which is the way you can donate to me. On all those locations on Facebook, okay, I have a QR code thing you can scan. In my post, I put it on my personal page too. So you can scan that and donate. That'll take you right to the donor box page. There's multiple ways you can donate. I know Tim keeps putting up the donation link to donate to me. And like I said, every bit works. I don't care where you're from. If you want to push out, just $5. If you get $5 from every one of your people in your affiliate and send it and split it amongst the candidates in Virginia, you would be helping everybody big time. And if you want to donate more, like I said, davisonfordelegate.com for me. And there's everybody else's information is on that page on who you can donate to. I'm not selfish. I believe that all of us need that funding to make a big splash. So Twitter is at Davison for HOD 19, and that's you can follow my Twitter page there. You had Maximum Libertarian up there. You go, Maximum Libertarian up there. He just commented. That is our affiliate chair in Roanoke. We do a podcast for Maximum Libertarian, so I get involved with that too. So please go. Shameless plug there. Go to Maximum Libertarian. So there's my QR code. Maximum Libertarian is we talk about all different issues surrounding libertarianism. So that I would suggest people listen to that. I can keep plugging away. Visit our other candidates, Joe Pascal, the 61st district. Vote Jerose, Jerose. She's the 22nd district. Like I said, 61st is Joe Pascal. Joe Pascal for 61. Charlie West down in the Tidewater. I believe it's west2021.com. I'm not 100% on that. And then Tim, he's been popping up. Make sure you visit his site also. We all have great candidates here. I can't shamelessly plug myself without plugging all libertarians. We are working for you to try to get government out of your hair and just donate what you can. I just ask that so much and not to beg for it, but donate what you can. Because if you donate, see, Tim4va.com is going to be his thing. I just seen it there. Yeah, any amount helps every candidate. And together, the Libertarian candidates will take over the House of Delegates eventually. And if we get one person there, we'll start storming with more. And when we get more people in there, we'll be able to make huge steps towards bigger office. I believe starting in the low offices of the House of Delegates, then state Senate, then like lieutenant governor and those things is very imperative. I think smaller, and that's why we don't have a state candidate this year in Virginia. So if we don't have a state candidate, put what funding you would use for that governor candidate we usually have into these House Delegate members, because Eric Bowling down in also down in Board of Supervisors for Eric Bowling for Irishwood is his handle. I'm not going to forget them, and I thank all the affiliates and the Roanoke Valley Libertarians, Lynchburg Libertarians, Libertarian Party of Virginia, the National Party. You know, we're all in this together. Mises Caucus, the Prags that are still around, the radicals, we're all working towards the same steps, which is to get libertarians on the ballot. And when they're on the ballot, to help them succeed. So I ask everybody if they can donate 1, 2, 5, 10 or more to these candidates. It's important.
Well, listen, Dean, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thanks to folks listening tonight. Apologize for the road noise, but tonight was an important evening, both with this show and again, I know I've brought this up a couple of times, but take a moment this week to reflect on the Libertarian Party's support of peace, our opposition to war, and of course, what impact nuclear weapons and weaponry has on that. Folks, you've been listening to Candidates Corner on LPTV, Libertarian Party Television, a production of the Libertarian Party and Libertarian National Committee. Whitney Billius serving as chair. As always, particularly tonight, a huge thanks to John Gapso on the big board, who volunteers his time a couple of nights a week to serve as the production manager on this presentation. I'm your host, Pat Ford. It is a singular honor to be able to participate in this show with candidates from around the nation. A shout out to the Commonwealth of Virginia and the Virginia Libertarian Party. We'd love to get together a panel show with all of you in the coming week. So we could discuss that. Folks, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon.